Hello, friends. Welcome to Rise and Shine. Today we are reading Too Many Turkeys by Linda White and pictures by Megan Lloyd. If you like this story, please subscribe, like, and ring that bell button for notification. Now let's get started. One cold, rainy day, a lost little turkey stumbled into Fred and Belle's tiny farm. Fred, Belle cried, come run this turkey off. He'll eat my garden. Not if we feed him, Fred cradled the scared poult in his long fingers. Turkeys make an infernal mess, Belle muttered. Fred took a gander at the gangly poult. He looks just like Uncle Buffer. That's what I'll call him. Right then and there, Buffer adopted Fred as his new mama. Fred built Buffer a fine house and fed him. To Belle's satisfaction, he always cleaned up Buffer's messes. Belle's flowers flourished, her vegetables grew vigorously, and her berries produced bountifully. But this year, one new ingredient made them grow better than ever. Hardly a day passed by that a gardener didn't stop by Fred and Belle's square little house, shaded by the huge oak tree, to ask, what's your secret? Belle smiled. My special formula fertilizer. A little bit of this, a smidge of that was all she would say. The day came for Belle's annual birdhouse convention. Fred set the houses she'd made and her suitcase in the old Plymouth. Remember, water the garden every day, Belle said. I'll take care of everything, Fred assured her. See you in a few days, she called, rumbling out the drive. Belle hadn't been gone an hour when Fred noticed Buffer staring into a field. A wild hen turkey was strutting straight for Belle's lush cucumbers. Shoo, Fred said. Run along. We've already got us a turkey. But the next day, the hen was back, and with her more than a dozen others, all sampling Belle's garden. Fred ran at them, flapping his arms. Out of here, he shouted. Turkeys flitted from one patch to another, but none departed. Fred loped to the truck and turned up the radio to a thunderous volume. But the birds did not retreat. Those turkeys started swaying to the music. Fred finally fluttered his wings, wagged his knees, and turkey trotted those birds right back into the woods. Don't come back, he yelled. The next day, Fred propped up leaning delphiniums, snipped broken tomato branches, and pinched spoiled grapes. He fed Buffer, and just as he was shoveling turkey droppings into the barrel behind the barn, he heard something. A flip, a flop, and a flutter. No, cried Fred, snatching Buffer's bowl from under him. He dashed about the yard. Eat this, he shouted, trailing bits of Buffer's dinner towards the truck. Gobble, gobble, Buffer shrilled. Gobble, 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 the turkeys hollered, flailing after Fred. Come on, Buffer, Fred hurled the bowl into the truck bed. We'll drive them so far away they'll never find their way back. Hordes of turkeys settled into the truck bed. Fred jolted the truck out of the yard. Turkeys clung tight as Fred careened up hills and barreled down dales for 20 miles. When Fred pulled over, Those dizzy turkeys flopped onto the ground. That night, Fred slept peacefully, knowing Belle's gardens were safe. But then, at first rays of morning sun peeked into the bedroom, Bufford gobbled anxiously. Fred ran downstairs and, with Bufford close behind, burst through the back door to find hundreds of turkeys swarming the yard. Fred let out a howl. He ran at the turkeys. Feathers flew, plops dropped. His foot hit a slimy mess that sent him flying. The ruckus brought neighbors from every direction. "What am I going to do?" he cried. The entire place was a sea of plump, round turkeys. They roosted in the bird bath, fouled porch rails, and squatted in Belle's rocker. Fred struggled up. He took a deep breath and turned to the gawking neighbors. "If you'll help me, I'll tell you Belle's gardening secret." "Sure," they agreed eagerly. "It's Bufford," said Fred, winking at the turkey. "When I clean up after him, I put the stuff in a barrel. We add yard and garden clippings and table scraps too. Belle mixes it and lets it set." Neighbors pinched their noses as they neared the barrel. Bufford eats insects that would devour the plants too. His scratching for them loosens the soil so water goes deep. Yep, to have a garden like Belle's, you gotta have a turkey. "Could we have one of yours?" folks asked. "We could spare a few," Fred smiled and headed to the barn for feed sacks and shovels. He and his neighbors filled sacks with turkey plop and garden debris until the yard was prim once more. When folks headed home, Fred made sure each carried a handful of Belle's seeds, a bag of her secret fertilizer, and a turkey until all that remained was Bufford. Belle arrived home flustered. "Some of the neighbors have gone and gotten turkeys." "Is that right?" Fred asked. "I hope my secret's not out." Belle noticed her garden. "Why, Fred, everything looks so nice. You've weeded, thinned, and even trimmed." Within weeks, every house in the country had a spectacular garden. In the corner of each stood a turkey house with a fine, well fed turkey. Behind every barn sat a barrel. "Fred, where do you think they found so many turkeys?" "So many turkeys?" Fred's face flushed. "This sight has never been prettier." "You were right. It is good to have a turkey." Fred patted Bufford's head and nodded. "Yes," he thought, "though one turkey is plenty." But then Bufford had other ideas. The end.